Okay, Halloween Kills. Uh, we should do non-spoilery, non-spoilery generic thoughts, and then I'm gonna whine a lot. So what'd you think?
Um, I thought it was decent.
Okay.
I don't think he had a lot of fun because he kept whispering to me the entire time.
That was fun for me. I couldn't pause it.
This is another one where he was more interested in talking to someone than watching the movie.
A lot of what I was whispering though was stuff about the movie.
Yeah.
I was making predictions and assumptions, many of which were correct. I there was some bits of this that I really liked. There were some bits that I thought were dumb. Um, it's like it's the most Halloween 2 of all the Halloween 2s, even though it's the third one. And that's all I'm going to say about that for now. So, yes, good. People should go watch.
Yeah.
I actually wouldn't mind seeing this again. Doesn't mean I'm going to, but I wouldn't mind. I mean, I will at some point. I might watch, like when it comes out, I might watch it again. So, spoiler warning. Goodbye if you don't want spoilers. If you do,
It's been a long day already.
So remember how when we were talking about the last one, I was like, you know, it would be more interesting to watch her like hunting him the whole movie. That's kind of like what this movie was, and I liked that. I liked that. I liked the concept of them turning it around. Unfortunately, a lot of what they did to make that happen was have everybody be stupid. Which isn't inaccurate to how people are. It's just frustrating when you're watching a movie. Let me ask you this. Did you find this movie funny?
Why?
Because I found a lot of this movie funny, and I don't think I was supposed to.
Like what parts?
The thing that sticks out is Big John and Little John.
Yeah, Big John and Little John were...
And like, I thought, I would have hoped that we were past the point of the gay couple is funny because gay people are funny. But like, they try so hard to make Little John, who's the bigger one, which is weird, to make them funny. But just like the bit where he kicks the door and the lady shoots herself in the face, I laughed at that part just because it's so dumb. And I don't know, there were just a lot of little things that I think were unintentionally funny. I think the Big John, Little John stuff, they wanted to be funny.
Yeah.
But then,
Big John and Little John. So Big John is the little one, and Little John is the big one. And then Little John picks up a big knife, and Big John picks up a little knife.
Yes. But the ending of this movie took itself so seriously. So it's weird to have a movie that has full scenes that are supposed to be funny, but then be so serious with, he wasn't looking out. And I was like, please don't say he was looking in. And then he said, he was looking in. And I'm like, wow, you are so full of yourself right now. Like, the ending, the first half of the movie, I kept thinking, I was like, I like how simple this is. It's very straightforward. The people are going after Michael. The last one was very convoluted with the podcasters and Laurie's weird trap house and all this backstory about her daughter and her failed marriages and the daughter being taken away and the granddaughter who doesn't know her daughter and this boyfriend character that's only there so that the daughter loses her phone, the granddaughter loses her phone, and this whole party thing, and like so much nonsense. And the first part of this movie, I was just like, okay, we're establishing characters that are going to go hunt Michael. Most of them are returning characters. I thought that was really cool. I wanted to look up before we started filming, but I forgot to do it. I think at least the girl that played Lindsay and the nurse, I think, are the same actresses. I don't know that for sure, but I mentioned to you that that girl that played Lindsay has been in other Halloween movies since. Mm-hmm. And so that she seems familiar to me. I think the nurse has also been in another movie. I think she was in the Rob Zombie ones also. So I don't know about Tommy Doyle, and then obviously the last guy, they just added him in. But like, I was okay with establishing more characters.
You mean Lonnie?
What did I say?
The last guy?
Yeah. Was that his name, Lonnie?
No, Lonnie wasn't the first one. He was the kid who got bullied.
That was Tommy.
No, that was Lonnie. Lonnie got bullied in the first one.
The kid,
as Michael walked past the park in the very first
where he's
one.
holding the pumpkin, and the kids are like, "The boogeyman's gonna get you! The boogeyman's gonna get you!" And then he falls on the pumpkin. That kid at the school.
That one was Tommy, but Lonnie was in the first one too.
I don't remember Lonnie. There was a flashback in this movie that took place back then. That was Lonnie. The kid that fell on the sidewalk and was bullied, not at the playground, but the kids.
I'm getting confused. What?
I might have. You might be. I don't know.
I can't remember.
My point was, I was okay with establishing all these mostly returning characters because it was a simple plot thread of we're chasing down Michael Myers. But then it got a lot more complicated in the second half, and I knew it was gonna be a thing, because Karen, which, oh my gosh, by the way, I forgot her name. And when she was screaming at everybody in the hospital, I was like, what's her name, Karen? And then it was Karen, and I thought that was hilarious. But she kept saying, she's like, no, he's coming here. Michael is coming here. He's coming here. And other people were like, why do you think that? And that came up a lot. And so I was like, I know that's going to be a big thing that they're going to try to make a big deal about. And then the big deal was like, no, he's just going home to look at his reflection. It's so stupid. But I like the idea of everybody's going out hunting Michael Myers. There was one of the movies that you haven't seen, I think like only once, maybe a couple times, but I feel like it's pretty rare to see Michael just go off on a bunch of people at once. So we get a little bit of that with the firemen, and I was like, oh, yeah, awesome, cool, let's just see Michael tear stuff up. And then we get it again in the street fight, so I liked seeing that. Michael, he ran in this movie. Do you remember that?
No.
In the flashback, when the cop is standing there at the window, the one that ends up getting shot in the neck, he, like, from off screen, it's like 3 steps, so it's not a lot, but he runs, and he pushes the guy up against the wall, and I was like, we finally see him run! He finally ran on camera, which I just thought was kind of funny. I gotta compose my thoughts. It's so stupid that nobody knows that the person that they're chasing at the hospital is Michael Myers, because they say they don't know what he looks like. They showed his face on TV. We, the audience, never see his face. They always do weird angles and blurs and stuff, but in the bar, when they're talking about it, they show his face on TV, and it's blurred, so we can't see it. But everyone there, including Tommy Doyle, who's leading this whole thing, sees his face. So they know what he looks like. Also, they know what he's wearing, and it's not still the white outfit from...
Show his face to us.
But not, like, clearly. Like, we never get a good, clean look at his face.
There's either the first one or...
And yeah, no, I mean... current year.
Oh, okay. Is it the same actor?
There are multiple actors that play him for different purposes. And so I know that for the last one, They brought in one of the original ones to do some of it, but it's mostly stunt people.
But yeah, they've seen his face before.
Yeah, it's so dumb that they're all chasing him, and they know, because it was in that news story that they were watching, they know that there are other escaped patients from that facility. They've seen his face. They know there are other escaped patients. And like, of all the stories that people have about Michael Myers, never has he run away from anyone. So the fact that they are chasing him down as he's actively running away should be a sign that, hey, this isn't our guy. I don't know if this movie was trying to make a point about how stupid people are and how quickly we can convince ourselves of something that we actually know nothing about. It didn't seem like that was trying to be the message. It just seemed like that's what happened in the movie, and that's what happens in real life, and that's what's happening right now in the real world. And then, like, you get all these people just grabbing guns that have no idea how to use guns, so of course they're not going to hit their target, which they don't. I wanted Allison to die so bad. I was so mad that she didn't, but I felt a little bit better when Karen died. I wanted all of them to die. I wanted all the Strode girls to die, because this seemed like it was making the story bigger than Michael and Laurie. And I was like, okay, that's going to be an interesting way to move these forward in the future. So I was like, kill all the Strode women, and then, you know, there will be, like I said, Julian. Bring in Julian first. And Julian was back for a hot second. I hated this whole weird thing they did in the flashback with the cops and Frank, and how, you know, he's like, it was my fault because I stopped Loomis from murdering this person that I wasn't aware of what he had done yet. But there were like 6 other cops there. So it's not like you stopping Loomis from shooting him did anything, because anyone else there could have still done it. I was impressed with how similarly this lookalike actor looked like Loomis, but I was distracted because his voice is not the same, and they've used other sound-alike actors for voiceovers in other movies that did sound the same. So I don't know if those people have also died, but it was weird because I heard the voice and I was like, oh, they're trying to do Loomis just in voice, and that's weird. And then they actually showed Loomis and it looked pretty good, and I was like, now I'm just very confused. I've been talking a lot. I'm gonna take a break and let you say some things.
Yeah, apparently none of them have seen Michael's physique, because this short, fat guy...
He's tall. He's very tall.
Yeah, this short, fat guy with, like, just very scared.
It's the Penguin from Batman. Is who this man is. He waddles about.
He's just waddling down the hallway, and they're like, that's him, that's Michael, that's our tall serial killer over here.
Did you think, when Karen had him secluded, and she was, like, going in towards him, did you think he was going to attack her? Because that's what I thought.
What do you mean?
Remember when she, like, broke away from everybody else, and she was like, it's not you, I know it's not you, I'm not going to hurt you, I won't let them hurt you, right? Before she, like, locked him in the hallway? Why did she lock from the other side? Were there people? Anyway. And then his hand comes around the corner, and then you see her getting closer, and, like, I was all ready for him to, like, even though it wasn't him, like, he's also a mental patient, and I know this is not an accurate representation of mental patients, but this is a slasher film, so what I expected was for them to just have him also be a killer and attack her, and then it's like, now there's 2 of them.
I think the idea was that...
I'm not saying that would have been better, that's just what I thought was going to happen, and then it didn't happen.
Karen knows that it's not Jason, and I think
Michael?
Michael. I think Karen knows that it's not Michael, and they wanted it to end up a suicide. Like, you made this man kill himself.
Which, yeah, then...
And then they're all like, we're the monsters. Michael's turning us into the monsters.
So...
We're all afraid of the boogeyman, but the boogeyman is us. They
get there, and then they immediately pivot away from it. Because there was that cop who was, what was her name? Laura? I don't know. Lonnie? Whoever the other babysitter was that died. Her dad, he's back in this. And he's like in with the mob. He's like, evil dies tonight. Evil dies tonight, right? And then after the guy jumps from the window, he's like, Tommy, it wasn't the right man. What have you... And I'm like, you were in on that, dude. And then Tommy's like, I feel bad. I feel horrible. But I'm going to keep doing the same exact thing that I did that already has killed one person. Like, they acknowledge that what they're doing is wrong and is a problem and has killed an innocent life. And then they all just keep doing it.
And then after Karen is like, Tommy, that wasn't him who jumped. Like, that wasn't Michael. Michael isn't dead. He's like, well, how do we know that? How do we know that isn't Michael?
Yeah,
we've never seen him.
He was arguing with the other cop. He's like, we've never seen his face. How do we know? And that's where I was like we've already said, A, you have seen his face, and B, you know what his physique is like, and it's not that. I like that this picks up the same night.
Yeah, I do enjoy that.
What the original Halloween 2 did, although this goes in a very different direction, which is fine and good, and it shouldn't be the same story again. I was very, this is why I started this channel, was to have an excuse to rewatch old movies before new movies. I'm so glad that I watched them again, because I would have been so lost about a lot of things, like who is this guy that's wearing a skirt? Like, I would have completely forgot that he was the boyfriend.
Yeah, he just keeps wearing a skirt the entire night. Doesn't put pants on. He puts on a hoodie, though, instead of his little Bonnie
shawl.
Shirt. Yeah, shirt. His little yellow shirt.
So,
which I thought for sure when his name is Cameron, I think.
Yes.
When Cameron was dying, or like before they went into the house or something, I thought for sure Allison and him were gonna have like a little moment, like I love you or something.
I'm glad they didn't, because I feel like a lot of times in movies a boyfriend will do something wrong, like he did in the last movie, and then it's like, well, we went through this together, and the girl's like, you're right, I just love you so much. And in this one, they had a little exchange when he first got to the hospital, and he was just like, I'm just here to help in however I can. And then they had like a hug later, but like I don't think they kiss again or anything. So I'm like, I buy that. I buy that she's like, I'm mad at you, but you're here for me right now, and I appreciate it. Wait, I did not see that mom of the other kid. I didn't see that coming.
Mom of the other kid?
There was that mom that came in and she's like, is my son here? I have her for my son. This is how you spell his name. You're not even listening to me, but I'm going to keep yelling at you. And then later on, when the mob is moving through the hospital, she sees him, and it's the other friend that tried making a move on Allison that, like, she was his mom. And I was like, I probably should have put that together, because we're getting reveals of who all these other parents are. And that's the last one we haven't heard from. So that was just kind of an interesting thing. There were interesting things in this movie. If it wouldn't have been so pretentious at the end, and it wouldn't have convoluted the backstory so much with
what do you mean
the
it was
cops.
pretentious at the end? I don't think you explained that.
The whole he's looking in on himself at his own reflection, right? And it's like, that's what we need to do because we're the monster. Like, it was just so full of itself. I hated it. I hated it so much. Again, because everyone knew that, and no one changed anything. Cameron's dad, when he gets to the house, he's like, oh my gosh, what have I done? I've brought my kid and his, as far as he knows, girlfriend to the house. This was a horrible thing to do. And then instead of leaving, he's just like, all right, you guys stay here. I'm like, no, you've realized your mistake. undo it, fix it. But he doesn't. He just goes in, and then he and his son both die.
Yeah.
Everyone makes horrible decisions in this movie. Some of them realize that, and then none of them change their behavior. And like what Allison says in the hospital when Laurie is not this stupid. She should not leave the hospital. And Allison says, as plain as can be, you planned a trap for 40 years. We shot him in the face. You set him on fire. And he walked away. What do you think? Or I think she tells that to her daughter, to Allison. But there's a bit of that she does to Laurie also. And it's just like, how can you possibly think that you can do something more than all of that is actually going to stop him? And any person who is not an idiot would be like, yeah, you're right.
How did they even catch him in the second one or first one? He just stops and he stands there.
You're talking about the flashback in this one that shows what happened at the end of the first one?
I think so.
Yeah, that was weird. He's just standing there, and then they start like beating on him, which is weird.
No, not at the end.
No, there's a scene in that flashback where one of the cops goes in and like beats his leg or something.
Yeah, like he's just standing there and he lets them arrest him.
See, and that's why I don't like when you go back and muddy the waters of the original, because we hadn't questioned that before, right? We hadn't questioned before how he's got captured, because they didn't shine a light on it. But now this movie, it goes back, it shows us more that we didn't need to see, and then it's like, well, yeah, why did he stop? Why did he just stand there? It makes no sense.
I feel like it was supposed to... Okay, so I feel like it was supposed to feel like the end or the beginning of the first one when he first comes out, when he's 6. And his parents are like, Michael, what have you done? And he just stops and stands there for a really long time. I feel like it was supposed to be like that.
Maybe. I'm gonna make a claim that I have no evidence for and no way to prove one way or the other. I bet you there's a deleted shot somewhere where he's walking outside and he sees his reflection in the window of a cop car and just stops and stares at it. Because that's what this movie really... Like, we had that one when he's in the room at the end, where the voiceover too, when we're seeing the stuff happening at the house, but we hear Frank and Laurie talking, that just added to the pretentiousness of it. We get this epic music as they're explaining to the audience how people are bad. It's so bad. But we had this one shot where it like shifts the focus onto his reflection. And I'm like, we should all look at ourselves. Thanks, movie. But yeah, I don't know.
Michael would just stand there and stare out of his sister's window. They were all wondering what he was looking at. No one ever thought that he wasn't looking out. He was looking at his own reflection.
Like, they say that in multiple ways, multiple times. They try to make it sound so deep. If that's true...
They do bring up the fact that he looked out of his sister's window a lot.
If that was true, A, why his sister's window specifically? Why not any other window? Or B, a mirror? Why not? Like, there's a bit in The Ring, right, where we have this thing where the girl crawls out of the TV, right, and blah 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 blah, and then they go and they see her room, and they're like, oh, she was always by herself, and it was like, no, she wasn't by herself, and she had moved her TV so that she could sit and stare at her reflection in the TV, and like that was like a thing that made sense based on the context, because that was one of the only things that she had. So like, if he's obsessed with his own reflection, why not just a mirror? You telling me they didn't have any mirrors in that house? I know they did, because his sister was sitting at one when he killed her. Right? Even that would have made more sense if he liked looking at his reflection and he was mad because she was using that mirror. Maybe that was the best lit mirror. So that was the mirror that he preferred. Why the window? Why? I liked the first half of this movie, and the second half made me angry.
So maybe that window, I'm not sure if it was like a before thing, because they don't specify if it was a before thing or an after thing of when he killed his sister.
No, because the one cop in the flashback, he's like, he used to go up there all the time and look at it. So like that's established as a thing that he did. And like he says that he was always creepy or whatever. But like, again, that goes against the general mythology of Michael Myers, which is what's so terrifying about him is that he just snapped out of nowhere. And he was a normal kid, and then he killed his sister. But like, if your kid is weird and constantly staring out windows, like, you're probably gonna
one window in her room.
Like, have them switch rooms or something. Like, you know. So I don't like it when people try to over-explain simple things that don't need to be explained. Michael Myers snapped. He's evil. He can't be killed. We don't know why. Go. Oh my gosh. When Karen took his mask when she was saving Allison, who she abandoned as she's bleeding out with a broken leg, unable to help herself. Mm-hmm. She steals the mask. She runs away like a block. Leaves the mask on the ground. And then hides. And then Michael goes and he gets to the mask and she goes, "Gotcha!" And I'm like, what? You've tried to trap him before in a house that you burned down. He's in the middle of a street. I realize you've got like 30 people with you. How can you think that he's trapped? How can you be this confident? And why did you deem it necessary?
You shot him in the face and he survived.
Why did you deem it necessary to have that big trap one block over? Why not just have everybody plan to meet up at his house, since you're not sure before you make the plan that you can lead him away? That was a big risk, don't you think? Don't you think they should have all just converged on his house where they knew he would be? It's so dumb. It's so dumb. And then, the crowd starts pulling up, and I was just like, I hope we get some Batman Arkham fighting out of this. And we did. And I appreciate it. I wish it would have been shot better, because there's so many quick cuts and close-ups and stuff. You can't really see what's happening. And I understand it makes the movie cheaper, so fine. But, like, I just wanted to see him. Like, I would have loved just one long, wide shot of him tearing through everybody. That would have been amazing. But we get to see a few, and then it cuts away. And then it cuts back to her. So she goes back to Allison, and they're just like sitting on his steps of his house. And I'm like, go anywhere else. Go anywhere else.
And then after he kills everybody that she just led them to, or she just led him to.
Right.
He comes back to the house. And Karen has walked upstairs at this point. She leaves Allison. She pats her on the shoulder and goes upstairs to his sister's room, to the window that he stares out of, into himself at. I'm sorry.
Right.
To the window.
He doesn't look out the window.
And then all of a sudden you see his reflect. So how do we even know that Allison survived?
Does it show her after that? I don't remember.
No, it doesn't. It just shows.
There were a lot of people outside, but maybe he killed all of them. I was
No, we
so...
don't see Allison again. We see Lori again.
Yeah. That scene was edited so strangely once he started attacking her. It looked like it was flashing to something else. And for a minute, I was like, is this a weird, like, it's all in her head thing? Is this going to be a weird reveal where, like, the trauma of how her mother raised her has been causing this very prolonged psychotic episode?
No.
It was just edited strange.
I think it was flashing, but it was more of a modern version of him killing his sister.
That might have been it. And, like, by the end of it,
That's what I thought it was. That's what I... and then, so it was like... And then, because then, at the very end, it shows Michael as a boy standing in the window.
Him...
In his clown costume.
No, that's before she goes up there. That's why she goes up there. Is she's standing down on the sidewalk, and I think it's supposed to be like she's like imagining him standing there as a boy, and I think that's why she goes up. I could have that order wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's before she goes up there. But anyway, it was only a few seconds long, and after it was over, I was like, okay, I'm pretty sure she's really dead. But like while it was happening, I was like, I don't know if this is real or not.
Oh yeah, because they show her dead body.
Yeah.
And then Michael's standing over it.
I'm trying to remember, like, what's the last shot of the movie? Because it just kind of ends abruptly. Right? Mm-hmm. I can't remember anything that happens after she dies.
I think it was Michael staring at his reflection.
Maybe.
In the window.
Maybe.
Like he was staring out the window and then it focuses in on the reflection of him in the window.
I remember that shot. I just don't remember that because I was referencing that earlier. I guess that might have been the last one. I don't know. Yeah, there are so many people in this movie who are like, hey, don't kill them. Kill me instead. And like, I realize it's a thing that happens in movies. But it's just not realistic. I don't think people are like that. But like Lori, she's got this whole, I'm going to be the one that kills him. And he's going to kill me. And we're going to kill each other at the same time. And it's going to be awesome. Like she's so hung up on this. And then the cop is like, I'm going to be the one that killed him. This whole thing is my fault. I'm so sorry. It's not your fault. He says literally the exact same line twice within 30 seconds. It's like, it's not, something like, it's not your fault, it's my fault. I think they used the same take. I think they used the same shot twice. Otherwise, he did a very similar line delivery. But it was the exact same wording, the same type of shot. I think they put in the same shot twice within 30 seconds of each other.
And then Frank basically crushes Lori's dreams because she's like, he's after me. And then Frank is like, no, he's not. He's going home, my guy. Like, it has nothing to do with you ever. It's not all about you.
But that doesn't fit with what happened in the first movie. Because in the first movie, he goes out of his way to stalk her. And to attack her and her friends. And, like, I guess he saw her at his house because she dropped off the key under the mat at the beginning of the movie. But he's already at his house then. And she poses no threat and she leaves. So, like, the whole point that they're trying to make this movie is that he's just trying to get home. That's not what happened in the first movie. This is why I don't like bad retcons. There's a lot about this movie I liked, though.
Yeah.
The ending's bad. last half is bad. First half is good. Even in the parts that I didn't like, there were shots that I liked. There were sequences that I liked.
Yeah. There, you could see a lot more of the kills. It wasn't just scenes of dead bodies.
I was so excited when we saw that doctor and nurse couple in the bar. I was like, I think those are the people from the first movie, just because I remembered that they were wearing a doctor and a nurse costume in the first movie. And then
Turns out the doctor is the one wearing a nurse costume, and the nurse is the one wearing a doctor costume.
I thought that was funny. I told you that. I was like, that's pretty funny. Yeah, it's so weird to have a movie that does so many callbacks. So they clearly recently, went back through the old movies, but then the plot and the story completely contradict what has happened in the earlier movies. I'm pretty sure it's already been confirmed that there's going to be another one called Halloween Lives. So where do you think this story goes next?
Probably, maybe continuing with Lord.
Because unless we both have forgotten, he's just in the house at the end, right? He's still not caught. Lots of people are dead. So do you think it's going to pick up again right from here and continue this night? Or do you think it's going to time jump?
It could. It could continue this night. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna time jump too much if it does. Just because if they want to use the same Laurie and same... if they want to keep the actors that have survived.
Right. It's a weird noise happening outside that's distracting me. I don't know if you can hear that. Anyway. Something they've done in other movies is like the prelude of the next movie will continue on, and then there's a time jump.
Mm-hmm.
So like, if I get what I want, which will never happen, next movie starts. He goes back downstairs. If Allison's not already dead, he kills her. Bam. Then Laurie, who's an idiot, somehow manages to get out of the hospital again and comes to his house. Since apparently he's not after her, I'm going to try to be consistent. And he just ends her. Nothing. And then time jump. And it's like, we never really know for sure what happened. But what we know is a lot of people died. And he was not captured again. He's just been out. And so like over the years, that area of town has just gotten more and more deserted. It's just like the cops are like, no, we're not going in there. And I want Julian. I want Julian in the future. And something happens. I don't know what the catalyst is. I kind of want, and this is why I think maybe I was thinking of that with the other mental patient. I kind of want another killer. Right? Or maybe Laurie was right. And once he kills her, then he can die. So maybe he kills her and then we just see all of the cops in the world just lay into him. And then it time jumps. And so we're unclear if did he die? Did he get captured? What happened? Blah, blah, blah. And then we see him again. And then it's like revealed towards the end that it's maybe Julian's the killer. I don't know. I want something where we can end this and then do something else.
Yeah. Without
having to go back and make more new reveals about old story. Let's move the story forward. That's what I want. But I don't get what I want. You know what else I want? Not really, but like would be funny in like a Thanos doing Fortnite dances kind of way. I don't think Michael has ever killed anyone with a gun.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
And I just want to, like, in some parody movie, I just want him to go into a firearms store and, you know, insert joke about guns in America, just like easily get guns and ammunition and just go slaughter a town and be like, wow, that was way easier. Why have I been using knives the whole time? Sounds like a Robot Chicken episode or something.
And like, if he's been in prison for...
Not prison.
Well...
A mental institution.
So if he's been in a very, you know, secure mental institution where he can't do anything, how did he learn to drive? Which, that's brought up in the
first one.
In the first one. The first one to this one or the first one in the...
No, the original.
The original one. Okay.
Halloween! The one called Halloween. Which Halloween? Halloween 1978. Why? Why did you do this? And then we saw a trailer for Scream, and Scream is doing it too. Why? Continue.
So, Halloween 1978, they're like, well, someone taught him to drive a car. Driving a car is not that hard. Especially when you're, you know, full-sized and not a child.
But he went in when he was 6, right?
Yeah. But I'm sure he had seen the inside of a car before. Like, his parents had a car.
But do you think the average 6-year-old knows about putting it into gear and which pedal is which?
Well, he had probably seen somebody do it when he was being transferred.
He probably would have been, like, in the back of an escort van or something. I don't know. Maybe a patrol car, but, you know, it's not like he... I don't know. There are later movies that reveal, they retcon that, yeah, actually, while he was serving time, people did teach him how to do things like that, which was weird.
But that's not apparently in the plot of this one.
I with how much...
And like,
if I was...
How does he know how to fight? They probably weren't...
He doesn't really fight. He just grabs people and then destroys them. But he doesn't, like, do, like, jujitsu or anything.
But he has pretty decent reflexes and pretty decent combat skills.
I think he's just strong and fast. He's got good reflexes, you're right. I don't think he's got combat skills. I think he's just really strong. Because he just, like, pounds people's head into the wall over and over and over again. I really liked that couple, too. The lady flying the drone. I liked them. I was sad that they both died.
No, like, in the end, he's like, oh, you're gonna hit me, and he, like, stops them, and then...
Yeah, that does get a little bit Batman Arkham. But he's mostly just slashing him with a knife. It's not really fighting skills. I don't know. Agree to disagree. No, I'm saying he doesn't, like, you know, do any kung fu or anything. That'd be cool to see, too. I want a series of parody Halloween movies where he uses guns and martial arts and, I don't know, a car and just runs people over.
That's what I thought he was gonna do. I thought he was gonna run a whole bunch of people over when he got in the one car. He does steal someone's car.
I don't remember that.
The black...
car? Oh, right,
black couple's car, and the doctor dressed as a nurse gets in her car, and she's like, he's in my car, he's in my car. And then they all come outside, and then he starts the car, because she leaves the keys in there, and then he drives past all of them. Doesn't kill anyone.
Oh, you're talking about that car. Later on, doesn't he steal their SUV from the park also?
No, he leaves the SUV.
He leaves the SUV. So, a couple things about that scene in the park. First of all, those kids are the worst. We already knew that from earlier, but they continue to be the worst in that scene also. Second of all, Lindsay is the loudest, quiet breather in the world, and she should definitely have been caught and dead.
The kids were like, there's this creepy guy in a white mask just trying to play hide and seek with us.
If those kids hadn't have been in the earlier scene with the Big John and Little John, I think that would have been way funnier. And I think they wanted that to be funny. Like, that whole scene where if someone came up to me at my house and said, we got candy from this house that had razor blades in it, I'd be like, get lost. What are you talking? Like, no, I'm sorry, no.
And then she puked the razor blade up.
And also, if that were true, why would you come back to this house? Go to the hospital. Call the police. What does coming here do? You're like, Lil Jon is so stupid. And like the whole time, I'm like, this isn't supposed to be fooling the audience, right? This is just supposed to be fooling Big John and Little John. And then, of course, Big John and Little John turn it right back around and try to scare the kids. And I'm just like, what are we doing? Why are we doing this? Why is this in the movie? It's all just a very elaborate reason for Michael to be in the house later. But we don't need that. Because he could just go in the house like he does with the people that fly the drone. Anyway, those kids continue to be the worst in the park scene, but it's at least funny. Lindsay should be dead. And then the nurse, as Michael's on top of the car, they're inside the car.
The nurse dressed as the doctor, right?
No, the old nurse.
Okay. The nurse that was in the very first movie.
She's got a gun. And, like, I'm not going to say that they're safe inside that car, but there's at least something between them and Michael. So what does she do? She shoots out, like, every window in this car, and then he just reaches in and grabs her. And I'm like, why did you do that? Like, you know this guy. I get that even with everything you know, you could still have in your head that, like, if I shoot him in the face, I'll kill him. She's shooting him in the hand and the arm. Like, that's all that's in front of the window, and she's shooting the windows. And I was like, what do you think that's going to do? Why would you think that would help? You just let him get to you easier. People in this movie are so stupid.
Yeah, and
if I were one that consumed alcohol, I might suggest a game where you partake every time that they say the word evil in this movie. Because I think this movie says the word evil more than any other movie that's ever existed. And so I thought there for a while in some of those hospital scenes that they were going to do another weird Cult of Thorn. Oh, he's an actual immortal god because of this cult thing. Like, I thought that was coming because they kept saying the word evil so much. But it didn't, hasn't yet. Maybe in Halloween Lives, maybe his spirit will get transferred to another.
maybe his spirit will be transferred to
Julie.
Allison. Not
Or that.
Julian.
Or Allison. Julian would be a hilarious murderer.
No, because he wouldn't be able to talk.
Michael can talk. He just chooses not to.
But he hasn't spoken a word in 60 years.
That we know of. But if there's some weird cult that he's working with, maybe he talks with them. I think I've yelled enough. I did enjoy a lot of this movie. There's just a lot of stupid stuff in it.
Yeah. There's a lot of stupid stuff in it. But it's a good movie. Overall, it's a good movie.
It's an enjoyable watch. I said earlier that I laughed, but I was like giddy when he kicked that door and she turned around and shouted. I sat up in my chair. I was like, okay, all right, I'm ready. And then it got boring again for a long time. But that was cool. It's so stupid.
Yeah, I thought
It's so stupid.
I knew they were gonna shoot out all of the windows, and I was like, why are you doing that?
If you've got a gun and the person you're trying to kill does not have a gun, Don't move closer to them.
See, he was on the top of the car, and I thought she was going to shoot holes in the roof. Which would have made more sense than shooting out all the windows.
And she might have done some of that, but like she couldn't see where he was or anything like that. But I'm talking about the doctor that was dressed as a nurse. When she came back, she had a different gun. And Michael was in the driver's seat at that point, or one of the front seats. Uh-huh. And she's just like constantly shooting at him as she's walking closer to the car.
I thought she was going to make the car explode.
That would have also been good. But I'm just like, you don't move closer to someone without a gun when you have a gun. And I was trying to think back.
Yeah, I thought she was gonna keep shooting at the engine of the car and make it explode, which
I guess she probably didn't know that her husband was dead, so maybe she didn't want to do that. Or maybe she didn't think of it. But I was trying to think back, because in this movie, Michael props up dead bodies like dolls and like poses them and dresses them in weird things. Mm-hmm. In the first movie, he like hid the bodies in ways that they were, cleverly revealed later on. But I think those were all supposed to be more or less unintentional. Like he just hid them and then they happened to fall down later. In the last movie, he just left all the bodies, right? He didn't do anything with them, I don't think. He just killed people and then left them wherever they were. So it's really weird that in this one, he's just like, okay, I'm going to take this guy and put a pumpkin on his head. And then I'm going to take his wife. I'm going to put them together for some reason. That'll be really nice. And I'm going to put this weird skeleton mask on her head. And then I'm going to leave them on this carousel and I'm going to spin it. And somehow it's still going to be spinning an undetermined amount of time later when other people come to the park. And then, this other lady, I'm going to put a witch's mask on her. Where did that witch's mask come from? Did any of those kids have a witch's mask? Was it the little girl? Did she have a witch's mask? I don't remember seeing that witch's mask anywhere else in the movie other than on this dead person's body hanging from the swing set.
I don't remember the pumpkin mask.
It wasn't a mask. It was just a pumpkin. He had just gotten a jack-o'-lantern.
No, the pumpkin mask.
Was it a mask? It looked good then, because I thought it was an actual jack-o'-lantern. But yeah, he's like posing these dead bodies. I'm like, who's got time for that, Michael? You got stuff to do. Let's go. Let's get on it.
So the first one, he doesn't really pose them in any sort of way. He just kind of hides them in ways that people find them. And then in the second one, he doesn't hide them at all. He just leaves them there. But in this one, he's
just repeating everything that I said? Okay.
Like the Big John and Little John thing.
Right, yeah, he poses them too.
Instead of Little John being on Big John's lap, Big John was on Little John's lap. Like he thought that was funny or something. Did we see the old married couple posed? Because we see him pulling the husband after he's already killed the wife. We see that he pulls, so I assume he posed them also. No. He left the black lady, where she was.
Oh,
and then
yeah.
the kitchen table, and then he starts using...
Boom. 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 It's like one of those voodoo doll knife boards, but he just did it with knife holders, knife blocks.
Yeah, he used the man as a knife block. Yeah. And just keeps putting all the knives in him, and then the last one he takes the knife and runs off.
He's just going through. He's like, don't like that one. Not big enough. Too rusty. Nope. Yeah, that one's alright.
Yeah, so he takes all the knives out of the knife block and he just keeps sticking this guy to the table with him.
Sometimes movies do things that they think look cool, but make no sense. And it makes me sad. Why? Why would he do that? All right. Call it a day. We done.
We're done.
Go check it out.
Bye.
Bye. Hey everybody, Sam Tom here. Just wanted to let you know that I have 2 channels. If you're watching my music content, I also have a movie channel where I talk about movies and TV shows. If you're watching my movie content, I have a music channel where I do song covers, instrument demos, things like that. So feel free to check that out. Obviously, like, share, subscribe, comment, all that YouTube stuff. Thank you very much for watching, and have a good day.